Hi there, Deacon John Wilson here, Education Enrichment Director for West Angeles Church, with a video about that I'm going to talk about um, some assumptions that you as parents make about endowments. I'm going to first show you the top endowment schools in the country. Why? A lot of you feel that if they have a big endowment, they're going to give you money. But my calls last week reminded me that that's not true at all. So I'm going to talk about that. In part two of this video, I'm going to talk about the federal government and its investigation of 60 elite private colleges and a couple of elite state colleges for anti-Semitism. Now, I should probably, well, anti-Semitic actions. They're going to have them agree to standards. It's the Office of Civil Rights that's doing it. I know a lot of us feel that civil rights is only for black students, but some of the stuff going on with Jewish students is ridiculous and despicable. So first, let's look at that endowment list, and then I'll get into the other issue next video, because there's a correlation between the highest endowment schools and these anti-Semitic investigations. It's interesting how where there's a lot of money, you get more of that. And then also with the cost of those colleges. Let's get to showing you that list right now. So here's the list of the 20 colleges with the biggest endowments. I'll include the link to this list below. No worry about that at all. I always do that. I bring the receipts. But here's the list. And look at the size of these endowments, meaning this is accumulated wealth by the school on which they're just drawing interest. And typically they can, because they're into derivatives and other types of investments, they can make 4 to 6% per year, which is more than you get normally off of this money. So if you have a $50 billion endowment, by the way, this was last year, at the end of 23. My guess is that this endowment is now, I think it is, I've heard about $52 billion, that endowment. And you're hearing billion, not million. I hope you all are hearing that. And if you're taking 5% interest, well, 52 billion will be 5 billion. So 2.5 billion is just the interest on the endowment. And I did some quick multiplication using Department of Education figures and facts, and learned that they could pay the tuition of all their students each year just on their endowment. Well, certainly they could pay the tuition of, you know, more than half their students. They do some of that, but not a lot. Middle class families are going to pay, my experience, 35 to 50,000 a year for Harvard. If your family is making 150, 120, which is not a lot in California. But you'll say, hey, I'm going to Harvard. Well, but look at the debt that you're going to accumulate. And here's a school that has over $50 billion in endowment. Look at their USA Newsroom report rank. I don't pay a lot of attention to rankings, but they're a highly ranked school. Look at Yale, $40 billion endowment. What are they doing for the students? Remember, notice the elite colleges that are not on this list. So those are schools that are moving their funds back into the school. And those are the schools that I hear that I usually will recommend because there's the most money available to students. So parents, listen, it's not about the size of the endowment. It's about whether they've let it accumulate so high and whether they have a policy of using it. And these schools on this list, I believe their endowments are super high and they're not doing it because all of these schools are number one in the cost parade. I'm telling you. I know about this. John Hopkins is on this list. I want you to remember that later. University of Virginia is on that list. That's a state school, but they quickly have dropped the concept of being a state school within Virginia, although they are a state school. They don't take any money from the state government, but I think you can see why. Vanderbilt, 9 billion. Cornell, look at these schools on this list. Washington State. These are schools a lot of your students like. If there's any 11th grade parents, you're going to private high school, they push these schools. Private high schools push these schools. I should do a separate video on that. But they all have huge endowments. And what do they all have in common? They don't feed money back to the common student. Like if a student's 3.6 or 3.7 in GPA, parents making 150,000, they're going to pay 40,000 a year for these schools. I can guarantee you that. Look, even Notre Dame, where are they on this list? I believe I saw Notre Dame on here. Let's see if I can. It's probably right in front of me. There it is, Notre Dame right here. Look at their endowment, 16 billion. So if you have a $16 billion endowment, by the way, I'm surprised. Oh, I see. SoCal is not on this list. University of Southern California. I know their endowment as of last year was 11 billion, but they're not on this list because it's 23. Maybe they didn't make the list in 20 and in 23. But 17 billion for Notre Dame. I mean, they're making 500 million a year in interest off that. I don't think they're sharing it with the students. Building programs, Jesus Christ, you should be using the money the Lord gave you in these endowments as leverage to get loans for your construction. I don't. You remember, you're still collecting tuition in addition to these endowments. And then you're going to find out later from me, some of these schools are getting a lot of federal money too. And this is why they're under the spotlight for how they're treating their Jewish students, which I have a little bit to say about that later, as I said. So I thought that would be interesting. Take a look at this, parents. These are the schools with the biggest endowments. I'm getting a lot of calls. I get them every year, but this year I've gotten at least 12 to 15 calls. Deacon, we got our financial aid award. My daughter or son really wants to go to one of these schools. Unless you got some kind of a Questbridge scholarship, which are very rare. So parents of Questbridge students don't start thinking, oh, they can get this student. No, you're blessed. You're blessed and highly favored. It's rare to get tuition coverage on these schools, but you're getting room and board too. MIT, 23 billion. All right, so these are the biggest endowments as the end of 2023. I wanted to make sure I got that out there. And, you know, a lot of you are seeing those financial aid awards, and you can see these schools are not kicking in for you. Here's Stanford, the largest endowment in California, 36 billion. I don't know. University of Michigan, somebody's got into that school. One of my parents told me their kid got in. $17 billion. These are billions, everybody. Some of these schools, last point, some of these schools actually have, and I'll share the link below, some of these in the description box, some of these schools actually have investment managers, VPs of investment. These are small business, these are businesses. I used to call them corporate colleges. I did a video years ago, and you can look it up in my channel. Why does college cost so much? It'll blow your mind. All right. God bless you. Check my next one out. Remember, if you like what you heard or you learned something, click like and subscribe. Hey, thank you for all you who subscribed. We're now above 600 subscribers. I really thank you for doing that. I hope that you come back and see the great videos we drop. We usually drop later in the week. I've got a few more today to do and some tomorrow that got a little late because I traveled last week. But definitely like and subscribe to increase our scope, and you can be notified if you personalize it, notified when I drop a video or I go live. God bless you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.